Well, hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. After yet another range-bound session on the Lal Street, Indian stocks end the week flat. Sensex and Nifty gain 1% each over the week. The Nifty Bank ends in the green for the 8th week in a row. Rupee ends the day weaker at 81.69 to the dollar. The government-appointed Kirit Parekh committee will be submitting its report on pricing mechanism for natural gas by the end of November. Sources say the committee has not recommended a specific price. The formula for industry and consumers could be different. State finance ministers meet Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to give their inputs ahead of the union budget. Ministers of State Bhagwat Karad and Pankaj Chaudhary and top North Block officials attend the meeting. Board of Adani Enterprises approves fundraise of up to 20,000 crore rupees by a further public offering through a fresh issue of equity shares. Company to seek shareholders' approval by a postal ballot. Tata Group and Singapore Airlines in talks for a potential merger of Vistara with Air India. A merger will bring 4 airlines under Tata Group's umbrella, will consolidate its strengths and boost operational synergies. The government's plan to convert Vodafone Idea dues into equity is yet to fructify even 14 months after cabinet approval. Sources tell us that the file is pending for consideration at the telecom department. The cash-strapped telecom company lost over 40 lakh subscribers in September alone. Elon Musk announces general amnesty for suspended Twitter accounts starting next week. This comes after over 70% votes in Musk's poll favored amnesty for suspended accounts. Foxconn's China plant continues to be hit by protesting employees. Reuters report says that the plant is set to see its November shipments reduced by 30% as over 20,000 employees have quit their jobs. Ray of hope for same-sex partners. Supreme Court agrees to hear a plea that seeks striking down of provisions in the marriage law that bar same-sex marriage. The top court also asked the government to present its stance on same-sex marriage. Delhi High Court prohibits using name, image or voice of veteran Bollywood actor Amitabh Bachchan without his consent. The actor's plea is his personality traits are being misused by telemarketing firms, ad websites and more for commercial gains. Well, first up to the day's market action. Well, markets end flat for the week after a muted session. Both the Sensex and Nifty gained 1% each for the week. The Nifty Bank ends in the green for the 8th consecutive week. The rupee closed weaker compared to yesterday. Prashant Nair decodes all the market action for us. Prashant.
No interruptions in the last 30 minutes or the last 1 hour. No big moves up or down. The market starting flat and ending flat. I mean, a pretty tepid, sober kind of session through the course of the day, at least on the Nifty, with just a 10-15 odd point change. Banks were a little worse off. The Bank Nifty ending down by about 0.25%. What was higher today and did better was mid-caps, broader markets, and I'll come to a long list of stocks which did very well, but both those indices were up almost 1% by close. In terms of sectors, 2 areas, real estate as a pack and autos as a pack kind of stood out. Large cap names which did better, HDFC Life, Tata Motors, Hero MotoCorp, Coal India and Reliance. I mean, actually there was only 1% loser, Nestle, which was down, but that's about it. In the broader space, I mean, a lot of action on volumes, mind you. So PNB was higher, BHEL was up. There was Paytm and Policy Bazaar, which have done very well. Continuing with financials, Indiabulls Housing did well. RBL Bank was higher. RVNL, a rail infrastructure stock that did well. GSPL, PFC and REC. Tata Motors DVR was up about 9%. UTI AMC, I mean, a forgotten name. We don't talk about that much. Religare, RateGain, Kajaria, I could go on. But, that should give you a sense that the real activity in the market was not in the Nifty or the Bank Nifty. It was in the broader space. I mean, we are still about 100 points short of a new high on the Nifty. And I think we'll have to wait for it when we come back next week.
Right, Prashant, thanks a lot for that. Now, the government-appointed committee on gas pricing formulation, headed by Kirit Parikh, is likely to submit its report by the end of November. Parikshit Luthra now joins us. Parikshit, tell us, what are your sources telling you on the latest on that report?
Well, yes, there was speculation that this report will come out this week, but we have got to know from highly placed sources that this exercise could take a few more days, and possibly by the end of November, this report will be submitted to the government. Again, there has been speculation that the panel is going to recommend a revised price for natural gas. That's unlikely to happen. Sources say a formula would be arrived at and it could be a differential formula for the consumers of piped natural gas and a different formula for the industry as well. So what we've got to know from our sources is that they will try and balance the needs of the industry with that of the consumers. There are certain social needs of consumers of the agriculture sector that the committee will have to address, and probably there could be a price formula to address that audience as well. So let's wait and see what happens, but in all likelihood, this report will be submitted to the government by the end of this month.
Well, the state finance ministers meet union finance ministers Nirmala Sitharaman to give their inputs ahead of the union budget. Ministers of State Bhagwat Karad and Pankaj Chaudhary and top North Block officials attended the meeting.
The prime concern in different states was to improve their facilities, to improve their income, and to improve the state's overall condition. In different sectors, they have asked different budgets, they have suggested, and of course, Government of India, under the leadership of Finance Minister Madam Bataya, she told that every sector will be considered and the budget will be good.
What were the prime areas when it comes to sectors, logistics, infrastructure? Kya tha?
I told you, no. You take logistics, you take agriculture sector, you take education sector, you take medical education, health sector, even industries, railways, airport, hilly areas, ropeways, every sector. It was discussed, and it was a very good discussion. And the budget will be very good.
States की इनकम को लेके क्या बोला गया?
इनकम तो बढ़ाना उनको बढ़ाना है और हमें भी बढ़ाना है. हर एक ने अपना अपना बताया है इनकम कैसा बढ़ेगा, उसके ऊपर डिस्कशन अच्छा हो गया है.
कुछ चीज़ें मैंने रखी. विशेष रूप से मैंने भारत सरकार का इसलिए अभिनंदन भी किया है कि उन्होंने 1 लाख करोड़ की कैपिटल ग्रांट की स्कीम निकाली है, जिसमें 50 इयर्स का इंटरेस्ट फ्री लोन वो दे रहे हैं. और महाराष्ट्र को इसमें सबसे बड़ा फ़ायदा हुआ है. करीब 6,800 करोड़ महाराष्ट्र को मिले और हमने 3,000 करोड़ रुपए और 2,900 करोड़ का एक और प्रस्ताव दिया है. मेरी अपेक्षा है कि वो भी हमको प्राप्त होगा.
Most of us have given detailed written statements, and I have faith that they will be properly, assessed and given due weight when considering. States, irrespective of whether they are of one political party or another, all states expressed a few common themes. One is that states' autonomy, fiscal autonomy, is being greatly constrained.
State-specific Andhra, we have most of them the spillovers of the Andhra Pradesh reorganization, Polavaram project, and then the backward area development, certain rail and road projects linking Andhra Pradesh to Hyderabad.
केंद्र प्रायोजित योजनाओं में जो केंद्र सरकार राशि लगाती है, राज्यों को भी अपना हिस्सा देना पड़ता है, और इस हिसाब से राज्य के जो अपने संसाधन के भी पैसे हैं वो केंद्र की योजनाओं के हिसाब से चलना पड़ता है, उस राशि का खर्च करना पड़ता है. केंद्र राज्यों को मदद करना चाहती है तो सीधे केंद्रीय योजना रखे, जो सेंट्रल स्कीम्स कहते हैं, उसमें 100% राशि केंद्र सरकार देती है.
चाहे आयरन ओर हो, चाहे कोयला हो, उसमें अलग अलग ग्रेड के होते हैं, तो उसके हिसाब से उसका रॉयल्टी फिक्स होना चाहिए. नीति आयोग में भी मैंने बात की थी और यहाँ भी मैंने वो बात कही है. अभी जो जीएसटी कंपनसेशन के लिए ये 400 रुपये प्रति टन के हिसाब से उपकर लेते हैं कोयला में. तो हमारे छत्तीसगढ़ से करीब 6,500 करोड़ रुपये वसूली हर साल होती है. तो जितना जीएसटी कंपनसेशन के बाद जो पैसा बचता है वो हमको राज्य को लौटाया जाना चाहिए, ये मैंने मांग की है।
We have asked that the overall budget for Northeast should be increased in terms of the ministry for donor ministry, the schemes that are specific to the Northeast, like Nesset schemes, the PM Divine. So some enhancement can be done there. That helps us a lot. And number two, we have also asked for the capital, special capital assistance to be increased.
Well, Board of Adani Enterprises has approved a fundraise of up to 20,000 crore rupees via further public offering through a fresh equity of shares. Company will seek shareholder approval via postal ballots. From the aviation space now, Tata Group and Singapore Airlines are in talks for potential merger of their joint venture Air Vistara with Air India. Now, if a merger is considered, it will bring 4 airline brands, that's Air India, Vistara, Air India Express, as well as Air Asia India under one Tata umbrella. CNBC-TV18's Madiha Mujawar tells us what the combined entity could look like. Madiha, what does this mean for India's aviation landscape?
India's aviation space is currently dominated by budget airline Indigo. So what kind of competition are we talking about here? In terms of market share, Indigo will continue to be the dominant player, going by the current numbers. In October, the combined market share of 4 Tata-owned brands stood at nearly 26%. Indigo, meanwhile, enjoyed a 57.7% market share. So even together, the market share will be half of Indigo's. Let's look at the size of the fleet. Air India Express, Air Asia India and Vistara together have 200 aircraft. Indigo, meanwhile, has 245 aircraft in the air and is learned to have ordered 700 more, which should be delivered over the next few years. Now, Air India has also been placing aircraft orders, but even if these are inducted, the combined fleet size will remain smaller. Indigo has also been carrying more passengers on its aircraft. From January to September this year, Air India Express, Air Asia India and Vistara together carried 3.4 crore passengers, while Indigo carried 5.3 crore passengers. That's a difference of nearly 2 crores. Let's move to domestic passenger load factor. This metric tells us how much of an airline's passenger carrying capacity is being utilized. Indigo has a PLF of 82.1% individually. Air India, Air Asia India and Vistara enjoy a higher PLF than Indigo, which averages out to 84.1%. Lastly, I checked the on-time performance of these airlines in the domestic market. On this parameter, Tata Group's airlines have taken the top 3 spots. This is also the first time Air India has topped the on-time performance ranking in many years with an OTP of 90.8%. Indigo has slipped to number 4 with 87.5%, behind Vistara and Air Asia India's 89.1%. Experts tell me that given how close the operational parameters could be, Indigo will definitely be in for some stiff competition from synergies a combination of the 4 Tata brands could generate. And air passengers are definitely in for some interesting times.
In other news, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the Drugs Standard Controller has granted emergency use approval to Bharat Biotech's COVID nasal booster dose. It can be administered to adults who have been vaccinated with either Covaxin or Covishield. Administration of the nasal booster dose will begin post-alignment with CoWIN app. Relief has been granted for Yes Bank co-founder Rana Kapoor. The Delhi High Court has granted him bail in a money laundering case registered by the Enforcement Directorate. He was arrested in August of 2021. The former banker is currently lodged in Taloja jail in Navi Mumbai. The Delhi High Court has ruled that Amitabh Bachchan's name, Amitabh Bachchan's image or voice cannot be used without the actor's consent. The actor had filed a plea seeking protection against exploitation and misappropriation of personal attributes. There is a ray of hope for same-sex partners. Supreme Court has agreed to hear a plea that seeks striking down of provisions in the marriage law that bar same-sex marriage. The top court has asked the government to present its stance on same-sex marriage. The petitioner claimed being able to marry has implications for individual liberty, finance, succession rights, and adoption. Toyota's Innova Hi-Cross bookings opened as the model made its India debut. The Hi-Cross will be manufactured in Toyota's Bidari factory and is slated to reach dealerships by January of 2023. Parikshit Luthra gets us a sneak peek.
Toyota has launched the new Innova Hi-Cross here in India. This is the vehicle right behind me. It's more muscular looking and has a longer wheelbase than the Innova Krista. Also, the Innova Krista only came in petrol and diesel options. This comes with a self-charging hybrid electric engine. You've got 2 petrol variants and 3 hybrid variants with this vehicle. There is no diesel. You get a panoramic sunroof. On the inside, you have ventilated front seats. You've got a footrest in the second row as well. You've got a 10-inch infotainment system. And this car is high on safety. When you speak about safety features, you've got 6 airbags. You've got cruise control, lane assist, collision warning systems. The company says that this hybrid electric vehicle will give you a mileage of 21 kilometers per litre.
We had the first Innova, we had the Krista, and this thing is, I think, something which will exceed whatever people imagined with the Innova Krista. I think you're going to see spectacular performance in terms of fuel efficiency, emissions and safety.
The price will be unveiled very soon. The bookings begin immediately, and this vehicle would go on sale from January 2023 onwards. The Innova Hi-Cross, along with the Innova Krista and the Fortuner, will continue to be manufactured at Toyota's Bidadi plant in Karnataka. With video journalist Sohail from Mumbai, this is Parikshit Luthra.
Back now, Tamil Nadu is India's most industrialized state, accounting for over 15% of all factories in the country. So says a report by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, it houses 10,000 more factories than its closest rival, Gujarat. These findings aren't surprising. The state has been lobbying hard to attract investors over the last few months as it aims to build a $1 trillion economy by 2030. CNBC-TV18's Jude Sanat finds out what the state has up its sleeve as it takes the next steps towards the objective.
India has already signaled its intent to become a $5 trillion economy by FY29, and Tamil Nadu hopes to achieve 1/5 of that target on its own. According to an RBI report for FY20, the state is home to over 38,800 factories. That's the highest number among India's states and over 10,000 more than Gujarat, which stands at number 2 on the list. This is in spite of Gujarat's factory count rising by 82% in the last decade against Tamil Nadu's 45%. But the state wants more. It has set itself a target of bringing in 45 lakh crore rupees in investments in the next 8 years to cement its position as India's manufacturing basin.
The Chief Minister has already set out an ambitious target of $1 trillion economy by 2030, which means we should really gear up to have more investments on these sectors to the tune of around 45 lakh crores.
Tamil Nadu no longer relies only on its traditional trump card of automobile manufacturing to attract investments. It has emerged as a strong contender in the electronics manufacturing space with the entry of big global names like Pegatron, Foxconn and Tata Electronics. It is also working on diversifying its manufacturing capabilities beyond automobiles, components and electronics, and focusing on reviving some of its traditional sectors like textiles, chemicals and leather manufacturing. The state expects manufacturing to account for a third of Tamil Nadu's projected GDP of $320.3 billion by FY23, but the manufacturing sector itself has set itself a much higher target, wanting to account for 40% of the state's projected $1 trillion economy by 2030.
I think manufacturing is going to play a big role. From $100 billion to around $400 billion is the figures what we have. We as an industry body and industries have been working along with government. In order for that to happen, and there are multiple areas where these investments happen. The first and foremost is the high growth technology investment area.
To bring in these investments, the state is rolling out the red carpet, and its negotiations include offering incentives like extending single window clearances to MSMEs, 24/7 power and capital subsidies. We understand that more such incentives are also on the drawing board as the state pushes ahead with its aggressive growth targets. So from automation to AI and machine learning, there's ample scope for Tamil Nadu to invest big in technology that can support its manufacturing economy and help it reach newer heights. Now, whether this happens in the next 8 years or not will depend largely on how the policy and geopolitical landscape and the economy at large pan out. In Chennai, this is Jude Sanat.